And welcome to another episode of the Offtackle podcast. I'm Austin, aka Owensbeard43. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Owensbeard43.
And I am Raven F. You can find. Oh, sorry, I am Patrick. God, you can tell that I'm used to saying that more often than anything when I stream and do potato aim. I am Patrick, aka Raven F. You can find me on Twitch at Raven F. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RavenF0_O. Which, by the way, I think. Whoops! I almost knocked my microphone over. I think I found out why I can't change my Twitter tag. Apparently I had the name Raven F on a different account or sometime a while back, and I got locked out of it or banned or something. I don't know. But it says that the Raven F name is suspended. So I don't know what I did. I probably pissed somebody off at some point back in my Call of Duty days. It is what it is. But yeah.
You saw how a lot smoother it was for me just to say you can find me on those three at one name, and you have to go in 0.0
underscore. Okay, 0 underscore. There's a difference. There's a difference.
All right. So this episode, we are going to be going over our AFC and NFC East breakdowns. But as always, we're going to start off with the hot stories of the week. I'm going to kick one off real quick. The one that I thought was the, I guess, funniest and probably most hurtful to their team is Zeke Who. So for those of you who don't know, obviously everyone knows Zeke Elliott is not with the Cowboys. He is holding out for a new contract. And he has been hanging out in Cabo, and he flew up to meet with Jerry Jones. They're going to discuss some things with contract and everything. And Jerry Jones decided after the last preseason game that after their rookie running back had a good game to say Zeke Who to the media. Well, Zeke Elliott did not like that, and he turned around and flew his ass right back to Cabo.
I mean, should anybody really care if he didn't like that?
They should.
They should care that he's not happy about it?
They should care that he's not playing for them right now.
Okay, so, I mean, I get that he's a phenomenal player. You know, he's led the league the last couple years that he's played or whatever, overall in yards and everything. But let's be real, all right? As the owner of the team, as the GM, and I mean, we all have our opinions of Jerry Jones. I'm not a big fan of him myself, but you can't let these guys start running all over you. Le'Veon Bell set the precedent last year that, hey, you don't pay me what I want, so I'm going to set out the whole year. And that's what Zeke is trying to do. And Jerry Jones, we all know Jerry Jones isn't going to be the one to just stay quiet about that. I mean, we've all figured that out from recent years, from various different issues that I'm not really going to get into because there's no point in it anymore. It's kind of old. But I mean, I get it. He's your number one player. He is your superstar. You want him to be there. But just because he is who he is, you can't let him run all over you like that. And, you know, I mean, I do got to say, I've been watching a little bit of the running back that they've got that's been playing this preseason. I can't think of the guy's damn name, and I was just watching him a little bit ago. I was watching some highlights. But he looks good. I mean, I think they'll be okay. He's not Zeke, don't get me wrong, but he's been making some plays, and he's been looking good. So I think overall they'll be okay if he's not there. Not as good.
It's also just the second preseason game, and starters haven't been playing.
I mean,
so he's going against guys that are going to be backups.
Still, the way he's reading the holes and everything else, it doesn't matter who you're playing against if you're playing starters or not. If you're reading the holes and hitting the holes properly, you're going to be able to do that no matter who you're playing. The only thing you got to really worry about is the starters actually making the tackles and, you know, being able to react better.
Being in the holes. But, but he didn't come out and say anything about Dak demanding an extra $10 million or anything like that.
Yeah, but Dak's also not sitting out and like.
But Dak's also his boy. Like, he wants him more than he wants Zeke, apparently.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Zeke's a better player.
I mean, again, Dak's not going to be sitting out now. If it comes to next year when Dak decides to sit out, if he doesn't get $40 million a year, then I would hope he would say the exact same thing. But I mean, and we also all know that a quarterback is more sought after for a franchise quarterback than a superstar running back is these days. Now if it was back in the early 2000s, the 90s or so, yeah, I could see him being all over it and trying to get Zeke signed and everything. He wouldn't have said the same thing about Emmitt Smith. I can say that for sure. Back in the '90s.
Well, it's funny that you say that. I was actually having a conversation with one of our buddy that is a Cowboys fan, and I'm like, you would think that Jerry Jones, like we all know Zeke's a diva, that everything revolves around him in his world, but Jerry Jones has literally dealt with divas his entire life, being the owner of the Cowboys.
God, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders,
Even
who else?
to a lesser
Terrell Owens.
Yeah, even to a lesser extent, like Aikman and shit. Like they were hard nosed players, but it was about them. And you would think you're trying to get this player back. You fly him from Cabo to Dallas, and then you're gonna go say that. Like Jerry Jones should have known better than just to say that. I think it's fucking hilarious, but
I mean, I can't say that I wouldn't have said the same thing he did.
I wouldn't have, just because Zeke's still 100 times better player than the new running back.
I mean, Zeke is one of those rare NFL running backs these days, but can't really say he's better than that new running back when we haven't really seen him do much other than preseason yet. So, I mean, the cards will fall where they'll fall. I mean, it's the Cowboys. I don't see them going very far this year to begin with. I mean, I find it's kind of messed up because I grew up watching the Cowboys with my dad and everything, but Cowboys fans drive me absolutely insane. Sorry, Izzy. But yeah, some of them just drive me absolutely insane, man. So now I'm just like, you know what? Whether they win or lose, I really don't care. But the way they self-implode is just, it's comical anymore.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about how I think their season will go here in a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll get to.
Also, Antonio Brown, he is practicing, but he is practicing without a helmet. He filed another grievance with the NFL because his new helmet got denied. I don't know if it's just like I didn't read too much into it. I didn't do all the research on that because it's pretty new. I don't know if they're denying it because it doesn't have enough air in it or what.
It's like they do all the safety tests and everything. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be all the impacts and all that. I mean, from my understanding, his old helmet didn't fail any of the tests. And that's the main reason why he's having to fit over, which I get. If your helmet didn't fail any of the tests, why are they trying to ban it? Why are they trying to keep you from utilizing it? If it didn't fail on anything, like nothing, there was not a single test it failed on from what I've read. The new one, I don't know. I haven't seen anything on, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm just ready for the saga to be over now.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing is just turning into a huge circus, a clown show with the Cowboys and the Raiders, like between the two of them.
Yeah.
I'm just ready for it all to be done. Not obviously, I know Antonio Brown is on the Raiders. I'm just saying, like, between the two teams, that's like all we keep hearing about anymore is Dak, Zeke, and then Antonio Brown.
Yep.
I mean,
I think it's like you said, it's comical.
To a point. To a point, it's comical. It's just.
I hope it just goes throughout the entire season and it brings both teams down. I mean, I would die laughing I have friends that love both teams, and I would be giving them a lot of crap the entire season.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. But think about how happy the Steelers fans are right now.
Oh yeah.
I just wish he was still in the Steelers so that I could deal with them unraveling and everything else. I mean, that would be even better to me, but. The
NFL has also stated today that they are open to a playoff expansion. The expansion would put another two teams into the playoffs. The first round, the number 1 seed would get a first round bye. Then the 2 would play the number 7, the 3, 6, 4, first 5. Then in the divisional round, number 1 would play the lowest seed, and then the other teams would get split up, and like 2 would play the next lowest, 3 would play the next lowest.
So it's only one team each conference?
Yes. So there would only one bye instead of 2 byes.
Okay, I kind of like that.
I would be okay with
like,
that. I feel there still usually is at least one other team that doesn't make that cut.
Mm-hmm.
Could make a big push throughout the playoffs. That you're just like, oh, it would have been awesome to see them end too, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, so like when you were talking about this before we started recording and everything, I hadn't checked it out. I've been looking at the news and everything, but I apparently missed that one because I've been busy doing a lot of stuff. I was assuming that when you said by 2 games or whatever, by 2 teams or whatever, I figured it was by conference. So I figured it was going to go from 6 to 8 per conference. But the fact that it's going to make it so that only the number 1 seed gets the first round bye, I absolutely love, because that'll keep a lot of guys and a lot of teams from resting their players the last couple weeks. That'll make week 16 and 17 games a hell of a lot more important.
Unless the teams have them locked up.
Right.
Which, like last season, the Bears were going for a bye.
Right.
They could have caught the Rams. Then the Rams locked it up. I think they locked it up in week 16, so week 17 didn't matter. So the Bears rested their starters.
But imagine how much of a difference that could have been just by that 1 week, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you got a team that's going 14-2, they're probably going to have the number 1 seed locked up. But like let's be honest, even the Patriots, which we'll get into the divisions and everything, the teams and all that. I really don't foresee anybody making that big of a runaway this year. Like, I see some that are, going to be the obvious winners, but I don't see the 14-2, 15-1 teams this year. I see 13-3, 12-4.
Yeah.
I just.
We'll get into. I think we'll get into our playoff predictions and stuff in 2 weeks from now, because
probably right before the season opens.
Yeah.
Probably.
Because next week we'll do the West, and then we'll have a week before the season.
Speaking of which, that last week we're probably going to want to pump out maybe 2 episodes, because we'll have the Bears-Packers opening night game, and I'm sure you want to preview that one.
Oh, yeah.
And then get into our playoffs. So we might have to do a couple of episodes that week, but we'll get it all figured out. It's a couple of weeks away. Can you believe we're only a couple of weeks away from the regular season kickoff? Oh my God, I'm getting my jollies going right now. I apologize.
Just another couple weeks until you guys go for your race for third.
Get the fuck out of here. Second or bust.
Real quick, last couple things. There were a couple injuries, and there was a couple returns, and then there was one other thing that I know we both wanted to mention. So the 2 injuries that popped up. Hakeem Butler, the rookie receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, broke his hand. They're saying that he's definitely going to be out preseason. It's possible that he's just going to get placed on the IR just to play it safe. They don't want him re-injuring it. Tavon Young in the Ravens has a neck injury, is probable IR. You were saying that it sounded pretty serious.
Yeah, pretty rough neck injury apparently. I haven't got to see exactly what happened. But they said him playing the season is doubtful. If he does, it'll be IR designated to return. But I'm not holding out hope, which really sucks, man, because he just got an extension. He is such a talented young player, but he's one of those guys that he's been getting hurt, man. It's driving me crazy because that hits our depth really bad. I was so excited to see him play this year on this defense, man, with the depth that we have and everything. And boom, poof, flies away.
And then there were 2 returns. Well, one's more of I guess it's kind of a return. It's a reinstatement. Josh Gordon has been reinstated by the NFL for the New England Patriots. Reinstated again. I put that in caps on my notes.
Again.
I love watching him play. I hope he's still getting all the help that he needs, which all that stuff came out when he was still a Brown and through Hard Knocks and all the stuff that was going on with him and his mental health. I really do hope he gets he's getting the help he needs and everything, and I hope he does well. Like I hope he does well in life. I hope he sucks on the field, because I don't want to see the Patriots win again. But
I mean, okay, so I mean, it's the wide receiver position. You know, a lot of it comes down to your intangibles. How well do you know how to run your routes? You know, what's your timing going to be like and everything. You know, but him not being really in the league that much for the last 4 years, 5 years, like
yeah,
he's played here and there or whatever, but nothing crazy in depth, like not a full season. You just got to wonder, how is he actually going to perform? How is his agility going to be? How are his hands going to be? How is he going to go with recognizing defenses and the coverages and working his way in between them? He's got that natural raw ability, but there's so much to it that he hasn't been around for, especially with the Patriots. I mean, you got Tom Brady. Josh Gordon, if he plays, he'll be running a lot of flats. He'll be running a lot of curls, zigs, comebacks, you know, all this stuff, because we all know the Patriots like to go under 10 yards down the field, 5 to 10 yards down the field, and then get a huge break. But anyway, sorry, Patriots fans. I know you're going to hate me for that. I mean, but that's a good thing. It doesn't take too much to be able to run a drag route or, you know, a little single in or out. So hey, he'll probably be okay anyway.
but you remember the first time he got suspended and then got reinstated and came back when he was with the Browns, and then like his first game back, he had 2 touchdowns and 123 yards receiving or whatever.
Right.
He just popped off, and
he did, but you got to look at how much of a duration there is a difference between then and now, though.
well, he was playing last year for a minute.
Yeah, a minute, and not like a minute when people say, I ain't seen you in a minute, when it's been like 10 years, you know, like it wasn't that long that he played.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I hope he is the best off the field. I'll leave it at that.
Absolutely. I mean, but you know, he had to have dedication to do what he wanted to do, considering they had security guards stashed outside of his hotel room, and he still managed to get out to go partake in some certain activities that he loves so dearly.
Your camera keeps focusing. It's tripping me out, dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that. It's because I got my windows open because it's so stifling hot up here in my gaming room and everything. And I got my banner that's over here. If you can see it kind of moving. Yeah, that's why the focus is going in and out. I apologize, everybody.
And then the other return is Jimmy G returned to in-game action for the Niners. It went horribly. That's the nice way of saying it.
So real quick before, I know, because we want to get moving on to the actual divisions. So for anybody that doesn't know, he threw 5 consecutive interceptions during a practice in camp. All right, 5 consecutive interceptions. His first play back. What happened? Can you guess?
I picked off.
Picked off. You got
it. Oski.
Oh man, but he's a savior of the 49ers, right?
Hey,
right?
They were playing really well with him. He is a pretty damn good quarterback. He did not deserve that contract he got. Well, let's leave that for next week.
All I'm going to say, just one quick little 5-second thing. Case Keenum also played really well with the Vikings.
Yeah. Joe Flacco played like shit for the Ravens last year, and now he's in Denver.
But my point is, like, just because they had a good year doesn't always mean anything. Look at Derrick Henderson when he was with the Browns. He popped off for like 4,000 yards.
He was playing great and then got hurt twice for the 49ers. He's just fragile. And then
that's what I'm saying.
Then actually there were 2 things I wanted to hit. One you brought up right before we got on. I didn't know if we were going to actually talk about this or not. The Chicago Bears kicking competition. The Bears cut kicker Elliott Fry, so that leaves just Eddie Pinheiro on the team. They did Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy both came out and said that the kicking, they're not giving the position to Pinheiro yet. He's the only kicker on the team, so the only other thing is they're looking at other options still to see who they can bring up or bring in from the outside. Pinheiro has a strong leg. He probably would have been the Raiders kicker last year, which doesn't mean a ton because they're the Raiders. But it just all comes down to consistency. We'll see what happens. I don't want the Bears to be in the position where a fucking field goal wins or loses the game, though. So I mean, it's going to happen because every team has those situations every season.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I just don't. I don't want that.
I mean, I can't say too much. Justin Tucker missed a kick last year that then cost us a game because of the extra point that went wide, right, or left, whatever. And I swear to you, it was because of the wind. Was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. But they were playing the Saints, and yeah, the kick it was an extra point or was it a field goal? I think it was an extra point.
I think so.
Because we were going to tie it up or whatever, take the lead.
Ass off at you.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those moments that I was stunned. Like, I got to stop. I don't want to get off onto a tangent because I could go on forever for this. But yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna stop there. I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah, just stop. But quick stat about Pinheiro: he has not missed a field goal of more than 50 yards.
You better start knocking on some goddamn wood right now. You better put your fist through a wooden table or something.
Hey, that's been said. I know I mentioned I listen to a lot of sports radio, and Hub Arkish, who is a big-time Bears contributor and runs Pro Football Focus, I believe. He's the head editor-in-chief or something. He stated that like 3 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, when the competition was still going after that first preseason game.
But you know what's going to happen is that come the opening game against the Packers, it's going to be a 51-yard field goal, and he's going to go wide right, and you guys lose the game because of it.
Oh, it's cute that you think he's still going to be the kicker for the Bears the first week against the Packers.
They don't have much. They don't have much of a choice.
They'll just fucking sign one of these other guys that get cut. There's a couple still, that'll get cut. And then real quick, lastly, Cedric Benson passed away in a motorcycle accident. He was a fantastic player. Obviously, being a Bear and then going down to Cincinnati, still had some really good seasons. Mm-hmm. And it's tragic to see like that happen.
Yeah, he was 36 years old, I believe, 35, 36, something like that.
Yep,
like still young. I mean, older in football world, but in all reality, he was still a young guy. Like it is really sad. I loved him as a player when he was a Bear, when he was a Bengal. Like throughout his whole career, he was one of those guys I loved watching play because he was that hard-nosed player. He could evade, he could run through you. He did whatever he had to do to get that last yard possible, and I loved it. So it's so sad. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, and, it sucks.
And along those lines, I know I missed it last week. Steelers wide receiver coach Daryl Drake passed. He was a longtime Bears position coach also, and he actually was down working as a coach at the University of Texas when Ced was there. And I know those two developed a bond. They mentioned that, obviously, on the radio when I was listening to it. And like, those two just passing that quick from each other, it's very sad. We send out our condolences to both their families.
Did just real quick, did they ever say what happened with him while he passed? I just saw that he's suddenly passed. I'm going to assume a heart attack or something.
I believe so. I can't completely remember.
It's a shame, man. It sucks, but
yeah, I'm gonna search that real quick. Do you want to lead us into what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So this week we will be discussing the AFC East and the NFC East. Okay. We've already covered the North and the South for each conference. You can find those on the previous episodes. Last week, episode, what was it, 3? Yeah, last week was episode 3, correct?
Yeah.
We covered the South of each conference. So what?
We are a month in right now.
I know, it's crazy already. Yeah, episode 2 covered the North divisions. Episode 3 covered the South divisions. So here on episode 4, we will be covering the East. So we are under time constraints today, so I will not be going so heavily through everything for each team for the AFC East. But I'm just going to start off by saying we all know whose division the AFC East is. Like, we don't even really have to go crazy
Buffalo!
into it. Remember though, Buffalo did have a fantastic team last year, even though the record did not show it. Buffalo's team was not all that bad. You take out the starting quarterback that what was it, Nathan Peterman? Yeah. I will just say, sorry, Sean, but having you over last year when the Bills played the Ravens for the opening game, that made my birthday, man. That absolutely made my birthday.
Um, hey, that also being said, I was a fan of Nathan Peterman coming out of college, and I'm still shocked at how horribly he played as a Buffalo Bill.
Right? Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, jeez.
well, since we're talking about, do you want to start off with Buffalo, or did you have a thing
Yeah.
set up?
No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start this week. I think I'm gonna go with Buffalo to start off with. They're not winning the division. I'm not saying they're winning the division. I
I wouldn't put it against them to pull something out their ass, though. Okay, hear me out.
yeah.
Josh
Please
Allen.
do.
Josh Allen is a
Mhm.
dual threat quarterback in the NFL where they run RPOs now, and that could be the thing. And I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying I wouldn't put it past them though. But for that to happen, a certain legendary quarterback would probably have to have either his worst year of his career, which is possible because he's old as shit, or he goes down with another injury like he had in the past.
So, okay, the I'm just gonna kind of read off the Bills stats for not their stats, but their offense and defense rankings. They were ranked 30th in total offense. Granted, with Josh Allen coming in and actually starting a full year and everything, I think they will improve from their 174.6 passing yards per game. But they had a pretty good rushing offense at 124 yards per game last year. So I think the passing will improve. The rushing might suffer slightly. It might stay the same. But they had the number 2 ranked defense last year, and that's one of the big things that I think is going to help them. Um, and if I remember correctly, they had the first ranked pass defense. Yeah, at 179.2 yards per game allowed. They had one of the best pass defenses in the league, which is surprising with how they got blown out by the Ravens and how some other games went. Um, I could very realistically see the Bills taking second place in the AFC East. Um, now I do. I will say that the Bills could potentially surprise us because, again, like you said, with Tom Brady and the Patriots, there is no Gronk anymore. Um, Gronk saved their asses numerous times throughout his career. Like you can see a huge difference in the offense between when Gronk was healthy and when he was out of games. All right. So I mean, if Josh Gordon comes in, that'll be a big deal. But they don't have anybody that I can recall that's got the size, stature, and athletic ability as Gronk. Do I see the Bills realistically taking over the Patriots? No, not at all, because they still got Bill Belichick, they still got Tom Brady. So I think it's gonna be more of the same. But I think Tom Brady has a very average year overall. I really do. And I'm gonna get hate for that. I'm sorry, Chad, uh, and everybody else that's Patriot fans that might be watching this. Um, I know I'm gonna get hate for that, but I really do think Tom Brady's gonna have a very average year. 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11, 12 picks. You
It's
know,
weird. I was actually had that exact number for picks in my head. 11.
did you really?
Yeah.
And see, and the reason, and I think both of us, at least the reason why I come to that conclusion is because there was a lot of times that a ball would have been picked if it wasn't for Gronkowski and his monstrous stature being able to jump up and snatch the ball out of the air when it was going directly for a defender. And that's what I think a lot of people are going to overestimate about Tom Brady and underestimate it about Gronk because he had such a crazy wheelhouse. I don't know.
Real quick, since while we were talking about the Bills,
Mhm.
I don't know. They did add some pieces this offseason
They
too.
did. They did.
Um, Frank Gore and T.J. Yeldon into the backfield with Shady McCoy and Devin Singletary, the rookie. They added Cole Beasley. On defense, they drafted Ed Oliver, who at the beginning of the college season last year, a lot of people had him going number 1 overall out of Houston
Right.
at tackle. Um, He's a monster. They also added Star Latulele, who I just love saying his name.
La Tulale.
Latulele. And then it's also the second year for Tremaine Edmonds, and Tre'Davious White came into his own last year. I'd probably say second is probably their best spot.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably where I would put them. Just because I can't. It's hard to just say the Patriots are going to fall off because we've been saying it for so many years now, and it just never happens.
I mean, it has, and then they just bounce back, and then they start to fall, and then they bounce back.
Exactly.
It's
have
just
like a bad first 2 games. Or 3 games. They still win one of the 3, and then they go on some tear.
Do you remember a few years ago when they got absolutely destroyed by the Chiefs? Like the first, I think it was the opening night, or it was like the Sunday night game, the first Sunday night game of the year. Absolutely destroyed, and everybody's like, "Oh, the Patriots are done. Patriots are done. Patriots are done." You know, they're Tom Brady's going to retire. This is terrible. And then what happened?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull up the Patriots real quick because I just wanted to see who they added. I know they added Demaryius Thomas last season. I think their biggest thing is Sony Michel.
Yeah.
Other than that, literally everything's just pretty much stayed the same. They added Michael Bennett because they had getting their veteran defensive lineman, but everything else has just really stayed the same. They added N'Keal Harris in the draft, which that's their next. I think that's what they're hoping. He fills the slot that Gronk was out of, because N'Keal Harris is a big dude. He's the rookie receiver that they drafted in the first round, by the way, and he can go up and get it. He's not as big as Gronk. He's probably as athletic, but when you have that mix of size and athleticism, it's a whole different beast.
Right. I mean, what was Gronk, like 6'6", 6'7" range, somewhere around there? Like he was a big dude. That really just is one of those things that it's going to be real hard to replace. Yeah, go ahead.
I have breaking news. The Cowboys say they will have a press conference at 5:30 Eastern time, so 4:30 our time here in Central, announcing a contract extension for a current player on the team.
And watch it be Dak and not Zeke.
It's going to be Dak. I guarantee it'll be Dak.
$35.5 million a year with 72 guaranteed.
I'm going to go 37. And probably 75 guaranteed.
75. Wow. Okay, we'll see.
Because,
you heard our predictions here. This is before anything gets announced. So yeah. I just want to see which one of us is right. It'll be fantastic.
I'm saying that just because Jerry Jones really wants him, and Jerry Jones will stick by people way too long, like their head coach. All right. What other teams we?
So the Dolphins. Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick. They're really banking on some Fitz magic this year, I think. I don't think it's going to happen the way they did. Although I will say that when I was playing Madden 20, Ryan Fitzpatrick absolutely carved me up, and it was pissing me off to where I turned the game off. Like, dude, it was ridiculous. He really looked like in that game he was looking like he was with the Bucks when he was just carving everybody up, and it made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And you're like, what the hell is going on right now? But I mean, the Dolphins. Who? Hang on, I got up here who they lost and everything. I believe they lost Cameron Wake. Yeah, they lost Ryan Tannehill, Cameron Wake, Danny Amendola. Danny Amendola. I mean, let's
real quick, while you're saying that, I do want to say they did add Albert Wilson back into the receiving core, who I am a huge fan of. He was having a great season last year before injury, so I don't think the Amendola one's that big of a deal, to be honest.
Right, and that's exactly why I said it's Amendola. Uh, Now, Amendola, back in his prime, a couple years ago, before he really started getting hurt, and I say a couple years ago, it's been more like an eternity now.
Well, dude, he's been hurt since his rookie year.
I know, I know, I know.
He was not hurt when he was with New England because he would run 5-yard curls and then lay down on the ground after he caught the ball.
I mean, like a lot of the receivers, they run that 5-yard route. But, I mean, hey, Wes Walker and some of them did take the ball and go for 15, 20 yards. But, the 5-yard route.
Before they lay down.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, they got Josh Rosen, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Dwayne Allen, which I like Dwayne Allen, and then cornerback Eric Rowe. And their secondary was never really terrible. They underachieved at times, but they had some talent.
Xavier and Howard, I am huge on, dude.
Right.
Their other corner,
and then wide receiver Devontae Parker. So I mean, they definitely added some pieces that they will absolutely need, and will definitely help them out in the long run and everything. So, but again, I don't see them doing a whole lot.
I don't know.
I think I do believe they downgraded overall in the quarterback position. Granted, Fitzpatrick and Rosen should probably stay healthy, unlike Tannehill. But again, last week we kind of went over how Tannehill did. Like, he had some good years in the league when he was healthy. So that's why that's why I believe they downgraded overall, but they upgraded in terms of quarterbacks that will be able to stay healthy and contribute all year long. I do believe that Josh Rosen will be the starter by week 8. If not sooner, because I'm pretty sure they're going to start. I'm 90% sure they're starting Fitzpatrick until about week 6.
Unless Fitz comes out with a Fitzmagic-like year at the beginning and just keeps going, because he's done it in the past where he's had a longer run than like last year with Tampa, to where Fitzmagic was going on,
right.
And they don't want to go away from that. But like I'm actually, I keep saying I'm high on these guys, on certain players on their team, certain players, not the team. I do like Josh Rosen. I feel like he was dealt a shit hand in Arizona, just like everybody in Arizona was dealt a shit hand. He doesn't have a much better hand anymore down in Miami, but. I mean, they got a new coach. They're trying. They're trying.
I do got to say that I think the Dolphins have
pieces.
They have a somewhat decent foundation that they can build on and continue to improve. And in about 5 or 6 years, when Brady and Belichick finally retire and are out of the league, or at least out of the AFC East, then they might be able to push for the division. But no. But in all reality, I do think that they have a decent squad. I really feel like they're going to be hit or miss. I feel like 1 to 2 injuries could completely derail everything they have. But I don't see them being top of the league. I don't see them being bottom of the league. I can see them finishing between 15th and 18th of the power rankings for the low end, and high end 13 to 15. Because, of course, 12 up in the power rankings, you're probably in the playoffs, and I don't see that happening.
No.
So right about middle of the pack, I believe.
All right. And then we got one last team in the AFC East.
Jets, Jets.
The offensive side of this ball is probably going to be kind of wonky to me.
Yeah.
So obviously everyone knows that the Jets did bring in Le'Veon.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got his contract. He's happy. He's in his big market. Is he going to come in and actually play football?
He'll come in and play football. I mean, he got... Although I do remember I really want to get this tweet and edit it into the video if you can. where he said that he would need a lot more money to play for the Jets,
Yeah.
and then what he actually got. Do you remember him saying that? Yeah. So if we can get that, it would be great if you could edit that in just as a quick little pop up, real quick, like up in a corner or something like that, just to kind of show what he said, and then he ends up signing with the Jets. I mean, it was just comical. But overall, yeah, I think he'll play, and I think he'll play very well. I think he'll start rusty, but it's still not going to be enough to help. So let's see. They added Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley on the defensive side of the ball, wide receiver Jamison Crowder, guard Kelechi Osemele, defensive end Henry Anderson, and cornerback Brian Poole. And then for their losses, honestly, I don't really see anybody that
they were that bad that no one mattered.
I mean, the only one that I could say to me that really hurt was Buster.
Buster Screen, yeah.
Yeah, like that's the only one that I could say that hurt. But I mean, the offensive side of the ball, can they really be too much worse than what they have been recently? Can the team overall be too much worse?
No, and I know a lot of people in the league are still high on Darnold. He flashed a little bit last year, but he also flashed a little bit at USC, and that's what a lot of people saw and thought they could do. I don't think he's going to get much better than just flashing here and there.
Have you noticed that these quarterbacks that flashed or played phenomenal at USC come into the league and then they're just, Matt Leinart?
Except for Carson. Carson had a good career other than his injuries.
Right, he's the last one.
That he's the only one, because after that it was Leinart and Butt Fumble. And
exactly, that's my point.
And Matt Barkley, who's a good backup. I'll give him that.
Right.
But yeah.
That's my point. And I apologize if you guys start to hear barks. My dogs are up here in the game room with me, and they see another husky walking out on the road, so you might hear some barking. I apologize. Sorry for that.
We were talking about foundations with Miami, and
right.
The only foundation I really see with this team is somewhat on their defense. They have Leonard Williams on the defensive line. They have Mosley on the in the linebacker core. And then in their defensive backfield, they have Jamal Adams and Marcus May.
Right.
Up the middle, they have a very good core to build.
They do. They really do. My only hope for C.J. Mosley and the Jets is because Mosley came from the Ravens. I absolutely loved Mosley when he was here. He was supposed to be the heir apparent to Ray Lewis. He was good, but he was nowhere near what everybody was hyping him up to be. In fact, he's missed a lot of tackles that he should have made and everything. So I think he got overpaid. I truly do. But I hope he goes to the Jets and has a better career and everything than like what Bart Scott went from the Ravens to the Jets for, because Bart Scott was hyped up to be this all-star, this like superstar. He was a damn good linebacker, don't get me wrong. But to me, I noticed a lot of decline in his play once he went on with the Jets, and maybe it's because of the style of the system. I don't know. But real quick here before we move on and I go through my rankings and everything, the Jets were ranked 29th in offense and like 25th, 26th in defense. Is loading up right now. They were 25th in defense. So again, they can't get much worse. Like it's
they can. There was one key addition to the Jets that you didn't mention, and that is their coach.
Yeah.
Adam Gase is there, and a lot of people may remember what happened in Miami last year, where he got into it with reporters, and now he's going to New York, which is a more hostile place, especially when you're coaching. He has pretty much total control over the Jets organization now.
By week 6, he'll be arrested for assaulting a reporter.
I would die.
Dude, he's got them crazy guys.
I cannot wait for the freaking stories that come out of this, though. Like,
he's got them crazy eyes, man. Like he like I was sitting here scrolling through, and I'm sitting here scrolling through the editions and everything, just kind of reading up a little bit on it. And the picture that popped up, man, I was like, oh, God, what in the hell is going on here? He can't
coach. He knows the offenses, and he could make something happen there if he could just not be dumb.
I'm gonna send you this image that that I scrolled upon. And maybe I don't know if you can when
Sure.
you edit this, add it in. But yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah, let's get the predictions out.
yeah, so the Patriots are going to win the division. All right. I see the Patriots winning it, going 11-5. All right. Bills coming in second. I think you just got it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that picture. The Bills taking second, not getting into playoffs or anything, because again, I think we both believe that the two wild cards for the AFC are going to come out of the AFC North. I think we both believe that the AFC North will have three teams representing it. So I think the Bills will miss it by one, maybe two games. I can see them going 8-8, 9-7 high. Couple bad injuries, couple bad drives, penalties killing them down the wire. I can see them going as low as 6-10, 7-9. Worst case. I know that's a lot of wiggle room, but for anybody that watches the NFL and if you watched the Bills last year, they've got those times when they should have won, but they kind of choked a little bit. And then I think I'm gonna have the Dolphins finishing in third. I think they're going to go about 8-8, and then I believe the Jets will bring up the rear at about 5-11, 6-10. It's going to be close. Like the bottom couple teams are going to be fairly close, I think, but it's still a Patriots division until somebody proves otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So let's hop right over to the NFC side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were just in New York. Let's stay there. So the Giants, obviously, they drafted a quarterback, Daniel Jones, who played decent his first
He did.
draft. I don't know. I know there was a lot of backlash on that draft pick. I think it was just because where it was in the draft and who was available. I do like Daniel Jones a lot.
So do
I
I.
don't think he was a first rounder. I think it was a second rounder, but everyone knows when you're going into the draft, quarterbacks go off before they should.
Absolutely. And honestly, like I don't really think he's got the same skill set, but that draft pick reminded me of when like you guys traded up to get Mitch.
Yeah.
Now the whole trading up thing, I thought the Bears gave up a lot, and like I feel like he still could have been there when he got him. And again, I do believe that the Giants kind of reached on him, but I do like him as well. Like watching him, I watched quite a bit of video from training camp and everything. He's got some raw ability. Like he knows how to read. I think he's just got to get quicker with some things. Maybe it was just because of his training camp, the videos that I saw, because I watched a couple bad reads, couple bad throws. He looked like he was getting too much happy feet.
Yeah.
Back in the pocket, like trying to force the ball out. But I do like him. I agree with you. I think he'll be okay.
So that'll be a story to watch. Is if Eli starts to struggle, do they bring in the rookie? It's a lot easier to do that when you're a bad team anyway, and it's even more easy to do it when you turn around and hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, who's one of the best running backs in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
They added Golden Tate, which I think is an under the radar, not really under the radar in like people that go this deep into football like you and I do, but Golden Tate has had a great career all the way through, and I don't expect that to change much up in New York with Pat Shurmur at the reins. I think Golden Tate knows exactly what he's doing now in the league. He's going to do what he does every time. Then Evan Ingram at tight end. I expect a bigger breakout this year than he even had last year. Last year he had some big games, but I expect it to be more consistent this year. And on defense, they brought in Dexter Lawrence on the defensive tackle side in the draft. I don't know. If we have college football fans here that watched college football playoffs and saw the gigantic defensive tackle for the Clemson Tigers, that's Dexter Lawrence. He's going to just plug the middle of all of these offenses, all of the offensive lines. And that will hurt teams like the Redskins and the Cowboys that like to run up the middle.
Absolutely.
And then two other additions that they'd made were on the back end of their teams was DeAndre Baker, who is a rookie corner. He just was cleared for practice, and I expect to see him getting out on the field pretty quick. He is a very lanky, good corner. I hope he does well. I did like watching him play before. And I put this one down there. I don't think it's a huge thing. I think his versatility. When he came out of college and into the draft, everyone was talking about him. Everybody. Jabril Peppers is a New York Giant. Obviously, they still have, or no, they don't have Collinson back anymore. So I don't know what to expect from him. He didn't really do much in Cleveland. I apologize for anybody hearing me meowing. Apparently, Dobby thinks it's time for food because he's fat. But I'm still interested in watching him because he is that dynamic of an athlete.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I see my I don't know if you're going to touch on this, so I apologize if I
you go ahead.
A little bit. But what really hurt the Giants last year was all the injuries to wide receiver, and they have not started off camp and everything great this year on that front either. I mean, they've already lost who was it, Corey Coleman?
Corey Coleman to the season, and then Sterling Shepard is doing light practice already again.
Because
so
he
for the beginning of the season
broke his thumb or dislocated his thumb or something like that, correct? Yep. So I mean, they're already suffering injuries, and you can't downplay a finger injury, especially a thumb, when it comes to a wide receiver.
Nope.
You know, because that, I mean, so everybody knows, you know, receivers are generally going to put their hands up like this when they're going for a ball. Any sensitivity down here when a quarterback is slinging a rocket to you, once it hits, I don't care how tough you are, you're gonna have a reaction. Your hand might curl, your thumb might jump. You don't know what's going to happen exactly. Like it's going to be rough. Hopefully he's healed up because I think that is. Yeah, go ahead.
He only has to worry about that when Daniel Jones gets in because Eli doesn't throw rockets. Eli needs.
I mean, you got me there.
To call it a career for a couple years now, and I've never been high on him. He's had some amazing games. He's had a very good career, but I think he's had to call it a couple years ago, or should have called it a couple years ago.
I mean, he's got the same number of Super Bowl trophies as his brother. So.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the same amount of wins, and Peyton didn't have a defense. We're gonna do that conversation, greatest quarterbacks and stuff like that. Yeah, because you're saying Eli is up there with Marino, then there, bud. Marino has a goose egg.
I know it does. I do not believe a Super Bowl trophy defines a quarterback's entire career by any means. Trent Dilfer has a quarterback or has a trophy. Do what?
Then why'd you bring it up?
I'm just throwing it out there that he has had. Well, yeah, kind of. But I mean, that's like you said that he's had a good career. He really has, and I mean his last few years have kind of overshadowed his entire career, and it's honestly not fair to him on what he has accomplished throughout his career overall.
Yeah,
but I do agree that he needs to call it quits. He's not the same. I don't know if his heart's just not in it. You know, if his head's not in it, but he's done. I mean, he just needs to ride off into the sunset.
All right. So I have the Giants actually going 4-12 this year. That's gonna upset some people. There is some wiggle room. They could possibly go up to 6, and there is one person that can control that, and that's Saquon. Saquon could pop off and have a 200-yard rush game and 3 touchdowns because he's that good of a player. And that could change that. I'm still going to put it at 4-12, though, because questions on defense and the questions at quarterback, I don't... Even if they start Jones, he's still going to be a rookie getting his feet wet for the first time in the NFL. He could throw some picks and stuff. So let's travel down, and I know we talked about them quite a bit. Cowboys. So Dak, like you said, he actually is still practicing at least. He still has the contract situation. Zeke isn't around. Mari Cooper has a foot injury, so he's been out. They do have Michael Gallup, who I know played decent last year as their other outside wide receiver. They brought in Randall Cobb to be their slot,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to bring Witten back at the end of last year out of the commentary booth. Thank God, because that was cringe-worthy. And he's back again this year. So on offense, they also have Travis Frederick back, their center, and I think that's probably going to be one of their biggest things. Bringing him back should solidify that offensive line. I know they had a few injuries last year along with Frederick
Mm-hmm.
that hurt them a lot. I'm not hot. I'm not super high on Dak. I think he plays really well when he is able to just throw the ball short and get it into like Amari's hands. I don't think he played that well in last season until they got Amari, and then all of a sudden he starts putting up huge numbers again because
Right.
Amari's there. When he was younger, it was because Dez was a stud. So I'm not. I think he could have a good season if Amari's there. Gallup should have a bigger year, and I don't know what to think about Randall Cobb. He kind of fell off. I know somebody will bring up the first game of last season. That was a missed tackle, a bad angle, and Cobb really just took off. He still has the speed. He still does all that. He just falls off a little. He's fallen off from where he was his first couple seasons, and he's injury prone.
Right. Real quick before we move on, I do want to bring this up, right? Because I mean, I'm not real high on Dak either. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to preface this by saying that. But all right, and I saw this a while back, and I was like, there ain't no way in hell this is actually true. So I looked at it, and it really is. So again, last year I think we had talked about this before. He had a 67.7% completion percentage, 3,885 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Again, he took off when Amari got there. Amari was a big part of that, so I'll give him credit for that. But what a lot of people don't know is that he's had 8 fourth quarter comebacks in his career in the 3 years that he's been in the league. 3 of them were last year, 5 of them his rookie year. And last year he had 5 game-winning drives. All right, that is pretty damn good, especially for a young quarterback. And so I will at least give them that credit and give him that credit. Is he worth this $40 million a year that he wants? No. Is he worth $30 million a year? Absolutely not. But and that's exactly why I say I do believe he's got the talent, he's got the ability. He just needs to continue to grow. But if he keeps going down this road of wanting all this money and letting all this other crap get in the way, it's not going to happen. So there's my hope for you Cowboys fans. All right, that's my one little snippet of
You want to know
for
what
you.
my hope for the Cowboys fans are?
Who?
It's with DeMarcus Lawrence coming off PUP and Taco Charlton, Sean Lee, Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, and Woozy on the back end of that defense. That defense has some big time talent, and that's where I think that's where they need to focus on and keep control of the ball, slow down the game unless Zeke is there. That defense is going to make plays. Their defense got a lot better last year when Leighton Vander Esch came in and took over that defense in the middle, or off to this on the weak side, I believe. Jalen Smith coming in, great story. Him coming back from that leg injury at Notre Dame and not being sure if he'd ever be able to play football again. Flying around. Those two can make plays. Sean Lee will probably get hurt again, so I don't know who their backup is. Sean Lee gets hurt every season. Great player.
Yeah, and that's what kills me about him too. Is he is such a phenomenal player, such a phenomenal linebacker. But like you ask people who one of their top linebackers in the league is, like top 10, hell, even top 15 linebackers in the league. Sean Lee gets passed over almost every single time because really nobody seems to know about him. Well, because he is hurt that much.
You say that, but I still think he's the third best linebacker on that team. I think Leighton is better. I think Jalen Smith is better.
See, I don't know. I mean, I would love to say one way or the other, but you don't get to see Sean Lee enough to really say. Like
Yeah.
based on career, like based on everything else, sure, yeah, absolutely. But there's such a small sample size for Sean Lee to really be able to compare him to some of the other players in the league that I think that's why. But like when you see him play, when you watch him, he's not nowhere near as good as Luke Kuechly, but
No.
you can see some similarities on the way they each play. Lee is
Yeah.
slower, but he's yeah, it just sucks, man. Again, I could go on this whole long
He
spiel.
he plays a lot smarter because he isn't the
Mm,
most athletic or the
right.
biggest guy. And that's where like Jalen Smith and Leighton, I think Leighton plays smart and he has that size and the agility
Hmm.
because a lot of people don't know this about Leighton Vander Esch, but he coming out of high school he played what was it, 8-on-8 or 7-on-7?
7-on-7,
7-on-7.
I believe. Yeah.
And there's no lines. That's what he played in high school. He did not play like what you would think normal tackle football. They played 7-on-7, which they still had pads and tackled and everything, but there wasn't rushing or anything, so he had to drop back into coverage. And you could see that last year. He can drop back into coverage and can make plays. Jalen Smith is just an athletic freak. Super fast. Did the same stuff in Notre Dame. Um, so yeah, I think it really relies on their defense. They should rely on their defense a little bit more, unless Zeke is back. If Zeke's back and everything's straight, like there isn't a ton of drama, which this contract extension most likely for Dak that comes out later, and actually in about an hour and 20 minutes. Uh, I I think that should take some pressure off. And as long as there's not a ton of drama in that offensive side, I think they should do okay, barring injury, which everything's barring injury.
Yeah.
Um, but I do have them at 8-8. I think that could go 9-7, but I think right middle of the road. Just because of the drama right now, I couldn't go any higher than that.
So middle of the road, but like number 2, number 1 for the NFC East.
You may be surprised.
I'm just saying, like, because what was it? What year
Eight
was it? I
eight
can't
middle of the
remember.
road though. That's 500.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I mean, like, what year was it that I think like the winner of that division was like 9-7 or something like that?
Oh, you remember when I want to say it was like 4 or 5 years ago when the Rams got in at 7-9.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But
yep,
but I'm just saying because we always talk about how the NFC is like the most competitive because everybody's just as equally bad.
yeah.
Like
That's why I have them at 8-8 is because they get to play the Redskins and Giants twice. And so, and they do have some very good players on this team. Their offensive line is actually healthy. They probably should have one of the better offensive lines in the NFL again, like 2 years ago.
yeah, that offensive line 2 years ago reminded me of the '90s offensive line for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like it was just dominant.
So I am, for the first time in a long time, very intrigued to watch the Cowboys play football. Usually I'm just interested in watching them lose or, Tony Romo not know how to put down a ball for our field goal and losing in the playoffs.
He never had to hold the ball for the field goal, man.
Yeah, he did. He fumbled it.
I know, but I'm saying like he wasn't the regular holder.
That season he was.
I know.
I got, for some reason they
I'm
decided
trying.
you're trying to help. But for some,
I'm trying to help them feel better over that whole situation. Okay.
And they're Cowboys fans. You know how much crap Cowboys fans give people. They're almost
I know.
fans saying, "Oh, whatever championships, whatever."
I know.
Okay.
Got six. Got six.
All right. Let's go up to the Capitol, where the Redskins are. Obviously, their big pickup this season. They did bring in Case Keenum at quarterback, but then they went and drafted Dwayne Haskins, who didn't look too great in his first game. Um, that being said, he's also playing for the Redskins, and they don't have a ton around him.
No.
Their offense, I literally just think it's gonna be them turning around and handing the ball off to the ageless wonder Adrian Peterson and Darius Geis, who is back from injury. Either way they start, if it's Haskins or Keenum, I would think they're leaning towards Keenum. I haven't really read much on that yet. But I would think they'd want Haskins get more familiar with the offense, not being in a full spread offense like Ohio State ran.
Right.
And then this is the part that I don't understand how they were this bad last year. On defense, they had Jonathan Allen in his rookie year, who played really good out of Alabama. They have Ryan Kerrigan, who's been a stud since he came out of Purdue. They have Josh Norman, who never lived up to the contract that he got coming out of Carolina.
Did you? Yeah. Speaking of Josh Norman, so did you see that stiff arm that he received?
I don't think I did.
Oh my God, dude! The Bengals. I think they were playing against the Bengals. I'm trying to remember who it was. He got stiff armed so hard when he hit the ground, he bounced back up onto his knee pretty much. He got destroyed, man. Josh Norman Josh Norman blew up because of him and Odell Beckham going back and forth at that one game, like constantly jawing back and forth. Yeah, see?
Yeah, so for those of you that are wanting to watch that clip, just type in Josh Norman, and then the fourth option down on YouTube is stiff armed, and it's the top one against the Bengals, and he got absolutely wrecked.
Told you, man. I wasn't lying. You see how he bounced back up?
Yes.
Like not under his own power. He was forced. Like God.
While I was watching that, I'm gonna disappoint that one. Like, God, sorry. It did blow up, but I think that just brought more attention to how good he was playing that year. Which that year, they also had a bunch of pressure on the quarterback every damn game.
Oh, they did, absolutely.
That Carolina defense was one of the best defenses that I'd seen in a long time at the time.
Yes. He definitely benefited from that kind of pass rush. He was that corner that got he did what he did, and he accomplished what he did because of the quarterback not having the time. Any corner now, like if you got the pass rush, you can see them look like superstars and absolute studs because the quarterback's got to do what he can to get rid of the ball. So,
all right, and then actually two additions. One is a draft pick. One is actually a free agent signing. And this is where Landon Collins went. Landon Collins is now in Washington, which I still think is weird. I don't think there's as many players moving in division as there has been in the NFC East. That always happens in every offseason, pretty much. There's at least one or two that move. You had Deshaun Jackson go to Washington that one year.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about him here in a second. But Landon Collins going from the Giants down to Washington now. Landon Collins is a great safety. He's always there. He's always consistent. I think that's a very good addition for them. It brings another veteran into that defense and into that locker room. And I kind of think that's what they were going for. And then the rookie is Montez Sweat. He's going to be their rush. He just got cleared to start practicing. He's going to be on the opposite end of Kerrigan, and I'm really excited to see him play. He's not. I think he's more of a finesse pass rusher. He's not. I don't think he's as powerful. He'll get there. He's now going through NFL workouts and stuff. Like everybody gets bigger as soon as they hit the NFL. So I'm really interested in to see how he does. Redskins, though, as a whole, I had them one game better than the Giants. I have them at 5-11 because I do like their defense better. I like Kerrigan and Allen. I think Case Keenum is a smarter and better quarterback than Eli is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have AP and Geis. I think anything could happen. Now, I do think Dwayne Haskins at week 10 becomes the starting quarterback, if not before. I think the latest he
Right.
becomes starter is week 10. I think
Unless Alex Smith is able to come back, which they're still hoping for. They are still hoping.
They might still be hoping, but geez,
I
I
know
don't.
I'm not counting on it. That was rough.
Yeah, that was. I hate
Um,
that I watched that video.
yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Wait,
Did you see that Cowboys extended Jalen Smith?
no, I did not. When
Yeah.
how long?
It doesn't say. This was just shared 30 minutes ago by the NFL page. So I'm wondering if that's what it was. I'm wondering if that's who the big thing is. And that was.
Oh, that would be freaking amazing. Oh, well, that just shows you the defense wins championship, boys.
Oh, I've,
But yeah, so I have the Redskins at 5-11. And then we go to Philly. Now, they don't have Nick Foles backing up Wentz anymore, but Carson Wentz is back and supposedly fully healthy.
we'll see.
They traded for Jordan Howard from the Bears, who has 1 year left on his deal. So I don't. He doesn't fit the offense. That's obvious. He didn't fit the offense here. We run in Chicago. He ran the same. They run the same offense. He does not fit that offense. They drafted Miles Sanders out of Penn State this season to be a backup running back, and they do have Darren Sproles, another ageless wonder, coming back. I wouldn't be surprised to see Miles Sanders taking over that number one running back spot pretty quick. I'd say like week 3 or 4, to where he's getting more out carrying Jordan Howard. I'd say out carrying
I could
because
see it.
he's gonna out touch him because he got better receiving skills anyway.
I could see it. Yeah, I mean, I like Jordan Howard. I really do.
I do too.
I
He's
just
a specific offense though, and RPO
right.
offenses don't fit his skill set. Like if he was with the Redskins or down in Tampa maybe with Bruce Arians, like I think that would work for him.
Yeah. So sorry to this isn't about them. But this was shared a little bit ago. I don't know if this is one that you talked about. But Antonio Brown left the practice field as soon as they put helmets on today.
Yeah, because they were practicing with helmets and doing some contact, and he couldn't because he doesn't have a helmet because they won't clear his helmet.
Yeah. So once, it was just shared again.
Yep.
Yeah. Somebody just shared this, and I was like, man, because I knew he was out there without the helmet, but they said as soon as the helmets came on, he left. So go figure.
And then on the outside, they do have Alshon. Like I was just saying, we'll talk about him in a second. They brought back Deshaun Jackson. I don't think that guy's ever gonna slow down. It's easy to run fast though when you're 160 pounds soaking wet, but that doesn't change the fact that you have Alshon's giant ass on one side to worry about double teaming because he can go up and grab over everybody. You got Deshaun on the other side who's just going to run past everybody. And then you got Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert at tight ends coming across the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That offense has weapons for days. And then on defense, you have Brandon Graham, who I don't know. Do you remember when he came out of Michigan when they drafted him? He's their D end. A lot of people had questions about him playing in a 4-3 defense. Everyone just thought he was going to be a 3-4 outside linebacker. And he just turned into one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And you have one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL up the middle in Fletcher Cox. And then they have some good linebackers. Their linebacker core is the one thing that I'm worried about. But on the back end, they have Avonte Maddox, Ronald Darby, and Malcolm Jenkins holding down the fort to the both corners and then the strong safety spot. I think this Eagles team, I don't think they're going to be quite where they were when they had their Super Bowl year.
No.
I have them at 10-6. I think they win the division. They are 10-6 because they're in a division with the Skins, Giants, and Cowboys. I think they are going to split with the Cowboys though, home and home. and sweep the other two. But I just find it hard to believe that as long as Wentz stays healthy, that the Eagles don't win this division.
Yeah.
The weapons they have.
I definitely agree with you there, and I mean I think at that record I think they're going to be third, fourth seed, probably fourth seed, quite honestly.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're
100.
not going to be anything phenomenal. Now they are a team that when they get hot, they will scare the living hell out of you because they got the talent that when they get rolling, they'll be hard to stop and everything. But yeah, like you said, they're in that division and it's up down up down up down. Sorry you couldn't see that. I was leaning a little bit too close into my camera there, and I kept hitting my microphone stand. So yeah, I just I'm waiting to see if they feel like it was a mistake to let Nick Foles go. Like I know they're high on Wentz and everything, but man,
So real quick, since you brought his name up, so I until last week I forgot he signed with Jacksonville when we went over the South, and until this week, I have a ongoing dynasty fantasy football league with some friends from my old work, and we keep everybody on our roster. I forgot I picked up Foles at the end of the season last year. I have Foles and Jackson starting for Jacksonville, along with Russell Wilson and Mitch Trubisky on my fantasy team. I'm happy. I fucking caught a break there, man.
and then watch Foles go like
Oh, he probably
I don't
will.
know, 33,000 yards, like 20 touchdowns, 18 interceptions.
Yeah, probably. I don't care as long as he gets those touchdowns, gives me points. Hey, he's gonna be one of my backups because I'm probably gonna roll Russell, but maybe in 2 weeks we'll go over our predictions and we'll hit some fantasy.
Yeah.
I know I checked the comments. I didn't see much. Anybody got fantasy questions out there? You want to talk fantasy football? Just let us know, and we can talk about certain people, certain teams, anything like that. I do know. Actually, I'll let you talk about this. Our fantasy football league that you have completely set up and everything.
Yes. So for Middle of Nowhere Entertainment, we have a league set up and everything. It's moved to 14 teams now because we have a lot of interest. We still have one more slot available. It's going to be your standard PPR league. There will be decimal points and everything. So, based on yards and everything else. No defensive players or anything like that. No IDP league. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be phenomenal. I am going to attempt to live stream the draft from my end onto our Twitch channel, MONE. Well, actually, it's MON Entertainment, all one word. I apologize. So yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, we get some people to check it out and watch it. There will be a trophy for the winner and a trophy for the loser.
Oh, we're going straight league style.
Yep.
I like
So now I'm just trying to figure out if for the winner, if what exactly we're gonna put on it. But our very own Chad, aka Angry Pig, for his 3D printing that he does. You can check him out. It's on Facebook at Angry Pig 3D Printing, something like that, or AP 3D Printing. I can't remember.
Printing, I believe.
Okay, AP 3D Printing.
Yep, AP 3D Print Lab.
Yep. So I'm gonna give him a shout out for this because he is the one that is creating the trophies for the league. So check him out on Facebook. You can also see him on Potato Aim as well. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. So if anybody else wants to join, we do have that one spot available. So hit us up on Facebook or comment below, and we will get you on there. And,
real quick, while we are talking about it, is that PPR?
Yes, it is. I said that it's gonna be your standard PPR.
Okay, I was looking at something. I was trying to find some stuff on fantasy football, but I guarantee we will definitely talk fantasy football during the season because we talk about it a lot. You and me are in 2 leagues together. I'm in 3 total. So I absolutely love when fantasy football comes around. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I love when
yeah.
around. But when you got stuff riding on the line, bragging rights and all this stuff, like it gets intense. Especially when I'm whooping up on Pat. But there was just one other thing that I did want to mention while we were recording this. I do want to thank your amazing fiance for making these awesome mugs for us.
Yes.
So we all got our own mug with the Middle of Nowhere Entertainment logo. We have our color scheme, and on the back of them, we have like and subscribe and our username.
Mm-hmm.
And yours isn't right because it's not RavenF on Instagram. It's RavenF O.
You know what?
Hey,
hey, just shut up. Okay, just
but
okay.
But I wanted to thank your amazing fiance for doing that for us and getting all those set up and made. I wanted to give her a shout out and thank you for that. I know we really do appreciate it as much as we appreciate everybody supporting our page and everything like that.
Oh yeah, we're just for everybody to know, like we are putting a lot of work into this, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I'm getting better with the editing software and everything like that. So we're gonna have openings, closings. Hopefully here soon, some theme music, some intros, some outros, some whatever else that rhymes with that. Yeah. We also moved to Buzzsprout for our hosting for the podcast. So you can go to Buzzsprout, check it out. It's monepodcast.buzzsprout.com. You can also check us out on Patreon. We appreciate all the support. Which, speaking of, I would like to give a shout out to our one Patreon supporter so far. I believe on Patreon she goes by Twilight Cupcake.
I have no idea.
Princess.
It's on there.
Something like that. So I apologize if I butcher that, but yeah. So far we have one Patreon supporter. Yeah. I mean, it's we're coming along. We got a long ways to go, but hey, it is what it is. You got to start somewhere, right?
There is going to be some other things in the work. I know I sent you a picture the other day of some certain products that might be coming along, and I'm really excited for everything. It was like he was saying, a lot of stuff's going on behind the scenes. We actually had a production meeting, kind of, on Skype with all 5 people that are like in every episode of their certain podcasts. And
that did not go as planned. That got away from me so quick. Should have known with all of us getting together that it would be a shit show, and that's exactly what it was. But damn, was it comical?
Oh yeah, like we all BS. Obviously, that's, you guys know us by now.
And it's okay that you guys all completely roasted my ass. Don't think I'm gonna forget about it.
But we did actually do a lot of talk about what we're doing with the Middle of Nowhere Entertainment as a whole, and what we want to do to get better and certain things like that. So we are really working hard at trying to give you guys the best entertainment and the best information and stuff like that, and better viewing experience. We do have some plans in line for some special episodes and stuff like that also. So definitely stay tuned to all 3 of the podcasts. If you watch them, we'll make sure when stuff gets announced that it's all on all 3 of them, in case you only watch the Offtackle for football or Crimson Mask for wrestling or Potato Aim for gaming. Like, we'll make sure you guys stay informed, because some of these special episodes that we want to do are going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for the Call of Duty stream.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I'm dreading it.
I am too. It's going to be miserable. We're all going to be absolutely dead tired. Like you're just going to have to call me Kyle for that night, because I'm going to be down in Monster Energy drinks left and right.
What do you think?
Man.
Ready.
Man.
So that brings another episode, or that we're gonna wrap up this episode of Offtackle Podcast. Sorry, I'm a little tired. And next week we're gonna be going over the AFC and NFC West. I know we talked about some Jimmy G today. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that next week. And we got some fun stuff, because we get to talk about Oakland next week.
The clown show.
All right. But until next week, thank you guys for swinging by. I'm Austin. aka Owensbeard43.
I'm Patrick, aka Raven F.
You guys have a good night.
Deuces.